So, at home, I have my ex-girlfriend's father's skull in a box. Now, I should explain further, obviously. This is a skull that belonged to my ex-girlfriend's father. He was a dentist, therefore he owned a skull. Apparently most dentists do, to study, jaw and teeth shape and hold secret magical dental rituals. And many years ago, I asked to borrow this skull because, I thought it'd be great for a photo shoot. Something like, alas, poor Yonick gave you him well. And then my ex-girlfriend went overseas to find herself, and she did indeed find herself having sex with an Argentinian. That's quite alright, We all must go through these personal journeys, I fully understand, we were young. And then she came back home and I was like, let's stay together anyway. And she was like, I think this indicates our relationship has a problem. So we broke up. And then I decided to keep everything that she had left at my place as some sort of relationship tax. So I kept the Harry Potter DVDs and the skull in a box. And then I moved back in with my parents because I decided to become a comedian. And that is part of the comedic journey one must go through. One must return to the familial cocoon before one can emerge a fully formed comedic butterfly. Ooh, me wings are made of self-deception! And after a while I moved out, but I left the stuff there. And then just last year, while my parents were moving out of their old home, I had to go back and collect all the stuff I'd left there. And I found the skull. I'd completely forgotten it was there. And I had to get rid of it, but I didn't know what to do. Like how do you get rid of an old skull? I didn't want to just callously throw it in the bin. I didn't know which recycling bin it went into. I didn't want to bury it in the backyard either, because what if the new people who moved in had a curious dog? What's that you got there, Poochie? What's you digging up in our backyard? Oh my God, we're living in a murder house! So I held on to the skull, and then I ran into this ex and her husband a little while back on the tram. And we're just chatting, we get along quite well these days, and after a while the conversation came round to it, and I said, oh hey, I've got your father's skull in a box at home. She was like, oh, I completely forgot you had my father's skull in a box. Oh, I suppose, he probably wants it back. And I was like, yeah, no worries, I can understand, who wouldn't? I'll get that back to you. And pretty soon after that, I got off the tram. And what I loved about that conversation was that at no point did we explain to her husband what the conversation was actually about. And so I was hoping that just for the briefest moment, he thought that I was the sort of guy that if you crossed me, I would rip off your father's head in some display of wild vengeance and then keep it for 10 years in a box. And she was the sort of girl who was only slightly miffed by that. Just a bit put out. But of course I did get it back to her, of course. I buried it in her backyard.